Welcome back, everyone, to the Complete Pineleaf. I am here with Rothnor, the wagon driver, and we are about to make a little trip to Minas Tirith.
I will be glad to have you with us as we travel to the city.
I do not trust that Easterling that is traveling with you, and I know some of the soldiers who will travel with us do not either. Speak with me when you're ready, and let us depart. Let us go, and see what the soldiers think about this Easterling.
This is far enough for the night. We will continue to the city in the morning. Get a fire started.
Good, the soldiers have started a fire. We will take some food and some rest, and when the sun comes up once more, we will continue on to the city. This is a pleasant enough place to wait out the evening, much nicer than the last that we have left behind us. Oh, considering that we're in Ithilien and before we were in Mordor, I would say that that is quite an upgrade. Now, it would be good to have a reprieve from the choking fumes of Mordor and the wastes on the border of the foul land. But do not be lulled by complacency by this pleasing scenery. Keep an eye on the Easterling. He has caused no trouble thus far, but I don't want him to take advantage of our kindness. His sort are deceptive and untrustworthy, and we must not forget it. Why, you must think that he was called Iorzen the Wily or something. I will warm my bones by the fire and have a bite of bread. Right? All right then. Let's see who we have here. We have here Linadar, an unnamed soldier of Gondor, and Beleth. What do you say, Linadar? I don't care what he says for himself. I don't trust him. That Easterling would stick us with a blade without a second thought. How many good men of Gondor have already died in his hands, or what the hands of his fellows? I will not sleep tonight. I will keep one eye open and make sure that this Eorzen does not try anything. You should do the same. Hmm. Lads! But keep an eye out. Oh, we have several here. These are all unnamed, I guess. Yep, unnamed soldiers of Gondor. Alright, so we need to speak to Mithrandir. Oh, yes, of course, Mithrandir! I should not keep him waiting. Right? These wagons travel more slowly than they did on the way to the Black Gate. Does Rathnor spare his horses the exertion of a reasonable pace? He does them no favors. Shadowfax is made the better by haste, and revels in the lands passing under his feet. Bah! These horses do not do with some feed, and the evening will be rest enough. But I am impatient to reach Minas Tirith. The scrolls and tomes of the White City will be of use to us, and I need you there if we are to cover them sufficiently. Well, does no man understand the need for haste? No, I guess not, because they have no idea what's worrying you. Probably. That's all I gotta say. Well, let's see what Iorzen says. Well, what do you say? Do these men think that I have no ears? I hear what they whisper behind their hands. It bothers me not. I can say the same of them, and much worse. They do not have even a portion of Iorzen's courage, or his fine features. Right, that's be. Yes, I remember how bravely you went to the swamp. They are right to worry, though. If I wanted them dead, they would not see the sun come up in the morning. Luckily, they are to have been seen the end of the war. Do they not know that it is done? I do not fight for Sauron any longer. And I say they were cowards and ugly of face. Dim-witted they are also, to think the war still needs fighting. Join them at their campfire if you wish. I am content to stay right here, and I neither warmth of their fire nor their company. Well, this is going to be a right pleasant place. The sun is companion, and he shines on my home as he does here. Yeah, but the sun's going to be setting soon. Well, then, in any case, let's have a nice sit. I'm glad to be leaving Mordor behind us. Aye, indeed. But we bring some of its refuse with us. You are right, Belieth. That is a pity. It was not up to me, lads. Blame Pineleaf for Mithrandir if you want to take the risk. I would advise against it. I am in a dark mood already and do not have time for small-mindedness. Linadar, tell me something. How fared you in Argonath? I think to go there when next I return to Mordor. I think you should steer clear of it, Belieth. I found no treasure there. It's perilous and empty. Ha ha ha! Ooh, you have something to say, Easterling? Eorzen does not speak to cowards. Calling us craven, are you? I do not need to say it. You say it of yourselves. Oh, what are you talking about? I would not apologize to these cowards, Pineleaf. They're children playing at war while the sun is in the sky and called in for bed at sundown. Ooh, that's an insult. They know nothing of Sauron. They know nothing. Your master is dead, Easterling. Sauron's gone. He was no master of mine. You are a liar! Ooh. Yeah? You do not know how it was. He did not begin with Gondor. The Dark Lord did not come to your lads until he had conquered mine. If your people had been stronger, he might not have had the chance. Stronger? Strong like the walls of your white city? This one has seen Argonath. Ask him what he saw. Well, Linadar? It was horrible. I don't want to speak of it. When next you speak of strength, consider this truth. She who made Argonath as it is, she came first to my lads. Her poisons devastated whole cities. They're empty now. No one walks the empty streets for fear of her memory. We tried not to say her name, but the children remember. Sweet Lara, they sing, walking in the moonlight. Heard a baby crying, flew away at once. Can this be true? Your wizard knows of her. You men of Gondor do not know the horrors that befell my people. Yes, we fought for Sauron. Others of us died by his hand. We did not have a choice. I don't believe that. I care not. But if ever you come face to face with sweet Lara, you may understand. Sauron is gone. I fear no lesser phantoms. I will not repent my words, Pineleaf, but I will confess to you that I paid no heed to events beyond the borders of Gondor. That Sauron first conquered the lands to the east was known to me, but I did not consider what that must have meant to the people who lived there. I believe the Easterlings worshipped him as the Dark Lord, and I no doubt many of them did. But the words of Eorzan have planted seeds of doubt in my mind. I do not like him, and I still do not trust him. But perhaps his people? Bah! I do not know, Pineleaf. Would we have succumbed to the dominion of Sauron as he did the Easterlings? I did not believe it so, but perhaps it is a more difficult question to answer than I thought it was. We cannot believe everything that Eorzan says, Pineleaf, but I detect in his words some elements of truth. That his people pass down legends of the creature they stalk their lands cannot be questioned, and I know the inspiration for the one he calls Sweet Lara. She was called Lareth the Stained, a creature of fell reputation. Once she made her home in Mordor, and it seems Argonite has not forgotten her, for the touch of her corruption remains. Many were the hurts she perpetrated upon the lands of the Easterlings, and her foul touch was felt even in Gondor. But that is not the tale to be told in the dark, even by friends. Lareth is gone with her master, though her presence can still be felt in Mordor today. Her felt can still be felt. We managed to make it to Minas Tirith without anyone killing anyone else.
At last we have arrived.
I am accustomed to haste, and Rathnor's horses were incapable of anything faster than a slow trot. Shadowfax might have done that in his sleep, but I did not wish to leave you behind. I have need of you now, and it would not do to arrive quickly and then wait for you to report on Rathnor's leisurely pace. Eorzan has given us little reason to trust him, Pineleaf, but your account of Argonaut confirms some of my suspicions. The remainder requires corroboration by other sources, but these can be found in the city. Go to the houses of lore in the southern side of the Fifth Circle, and look for any scrolls or tomes that concern the Great Plague that so troubled Gondor earlier in the age. Ask a scholar there for some Kingsfoil as well, if any can be spared. They have found it lately of use, but they still should have some to give to you. Once you have done this, you should see if Eorzan has anything else to say to us concerning this matter. Whether he can be trusted or not, he seems to be willing to speak to you more than to the others. Well, I guess I will have to find out. So, look for a book about the Great Plague and find a scholar with king's foil. Alright, let's go. Now, it doesn't look like I'll be able to reach all the books in this room. I guess I'll start out with the book on this table, which is a bit musty. The musty tome provides a dry account of the Great Plague that ravaged Gondor beginning in the year 1636 of the Third Age. The forgotten scholar that writes these pages noted that the plague arose somewhere in the east, and many of the folk there were consumed by the disease before it spread to the Northmen of Rhovanion. The account spends slightly longer detailing the effects of the Great Plague of the rule of Gondor, including the deaths of King Telemnar and all of his children, and the abandonment of Osgiliath for lack of men healthy enough to man the defenses. The author of these pages mentions in passing that the watchers of Minas Ithil, the Morannon, Os Daithir, and Durthan were severely undermanned as a result of the disease, and you cannot help but wonder if he foresaw the problems that would cause in future days. The account further notes of the discovery that the leaves of the Atlas plant were found to have beneficial effects upon the progression of the plague, and that the disease finally ran its course in Gondor by the year 1637. So 1637. So beginning in the year 1636, 1637, so it's about so by the year so the plague lasted 1 or 2 years, which is, and Atlas is helpful in treating it. So I guess that's why Gandalf, one of the things that Gandalf suspected. So he wants me to find some Atlas then, or at least somebody who will loan me some. I suppose that Coverdale is a good place to start. Hello.
Kingsfoil? Yes, I have some right here.
It's good to see you again, Pineleaf, safe and sound. And did you tire of danger already? Well, what is it that brings you to the houses of lore? I am ready and available to help you in whatever you might need. Kingsfoil? Yes, I do have some here. It is very useful for treating headaches and other minor maladies. Has prolonged exposure to the foul air of Gorgrot given you a headache? I am sorry to hear that, but perhaps this will help. Well, yes. Thank you. Yes, a headache. Well, Mordor is one big headache. Ah, hello, Harrison. What do you think about the city? At least the 2/3 that are still standing.
I have never seen this city from the inside before.
This city is quite a sight, Pineleaf. I believe that Sauron's armies were so near to victory, but now I'm not so certain. The city appears to be much stronger from up here. Yeah, it does have a way of doing that. I fought on the field down there. It is hard to tell, but I think I can see where my sworn men joined in the battle. I slew many men myself, wielding swords, wielding axes. That's the way of war. If it was not to be their blood, it would have been mine. Eventually, things began to go wrong. Some of my men were themselves slain. Others turned and ran. I ran with them. Later, when we formed up again, word came down that some of the leaders were dead. The Lord of the Nazgul, maybe others. And I thought to myself, why should I die as well? I thought to take my men and go home, leave the war behind. But I received new orders. I was to set an ambush for the forces that had started the march into the direction of Mordor. I left that task to the orcs. I tried to lead my own men home, and I was betrayed on the road. It was Ortaku who betrayed me, the treacherous dog. He was rewarded with my command, and I was brought to Udun to rot. Bah! The captain of the pit, Ugrhor, did not plan to keep me there for long. He planned to send me to Argonite. Durthang was a nightmare, but it would have been pleasant daydreams compared to Argonite. Sweet Lara is there, Pineleaf. She is still there, and she is working on something behind the walls of Saragoth. If you had not opened my cell, I would have been sent to Saragoth, and death could not have come quickly enough for Eorzan the Unlucky. Once sweet Lara has got her claws in me, once she made me drink of her concoctions, her vile poisons, I don't think I would be Eorzan anymore. So I thank you for freeing me, Pineleaf, if for nothing else. Now that is done, and we will speak of it no more. Perhaps I was wrong. This city is not so strong after all. You see the cracks there? And there? Another hour or two, and Sauron would have been things quite in hand. You're lucky that his commanders were not as capable as I, Eorzan the Strategic. And you are lucky indeed in this, Pineleaf. So very lucky. Let's get back to Mithrandir with the King's Foil. I am back with the King's Foil, and it appears that Eorzan is convinced that sweet Lara is still in Argonath.
Lyrith has returned.
I hoped it was not so, but it is no longer safe to doubt, Pineleaf. Lyrith the Stain has come to Mordor, and she has taken the fortress of Saragoth for her own. For all of this bluster, I can see no reason for Eorzan to lie to you about this. More than 1,000 years ago, Lareth created the Great Plague in service of Sauron. It was tested in the lands of the East, and then it was unleashed upon Gondor. But it was not yet perfected. The plague, while deadly, couldn't be treated with Athelas. Kingsfoil slowed its progress and aided with the defeat of the disease. Now Lareth has returned, and she is trying to bring her master's work, trying to finish it. Within the fortress of Saragoth, she seeks to create a strain of the plague that cannot be cured with Athelas. She seeks to perfect the Great Plague. Yikes!
We need to learn how near Lyrith has come to her goal.
Your descriptions of Argonite tell me that Lyric's experiments have had an adverse effect upon the land. It may be that a study of the plants and creatures within it will shed light upon the progress, Pineleaf. We need to learn how near Lareth has gotten to achieving her goal. Return to Argonite and take samples of material from the animals, plants, and water of that land. You should retain the King's Foil. Combine it with the samples that you see if there is any effect. We need not be overly concerned until the King's Foil ceases to have an effect upon the disease. But by then, it may be too late. 60 samples should be in 60 samples! You know, Harthalin, she intended to venture into Argonite. Look for her in the swamp north of the eastward running road to Kala Gyak, and I am certain that she would aid you in this task. Alright, talk to Harthalin, northeastward road, and collect 60 samples. Will I be able to collect all those samples? Will we be able to stop the next Great Plague? Let's find that out in the next episode of Complete Pineleaf.